My name is Thomas Hargrove. I turned 75 last spring, though no one in my family remembered to call. That Thanksgiving I still believed, foolishly, that showing up with my hands full of love and pies might remind them I existed beyond being useful. I arrived at my son David's house at noon, arms loaded with 2 homemade pumpkin pies, a tray of cornbread dressing I'd spent all morning perfecting, and a bottle of the good bourbon my late wife Ellen used to keep for special occasions. The air smelled of roasting turkey and cinnamon. My heart lifted when my 8-year-old granddaughter Lily ran to the door screaming, "Grandpa Tom!" She hugged my legs so hard I nearly dropped everything. Inside, the dining room table was already set for 12. David's wife Sarah was arranging napkins. My younger son Mark and his new girlfriend were laughing in the kitchen. Everyone greeted me with quick smiles, polite, distracted. No one offered to take the pies. "Dad, you can put those in the kitchen," David said without looking up from carving the bird. I carried everything to the counter, then washed my hands and started helping Sarah plate sides. She gave me a tight smile. "We've got it under control, Tom. Why don't you sit?" I sat. Dinner began with the usual chaos, passing dishes, clinking glasses, children arguing over drumsticks. Halfway through, David cleared his throat and tapped his wine glass with a spoon. "Before we get to dessert," he announced, "we have a little Thanksgiving tradition. Lily made a special card for Grandpa." My chest warmed. Lily beamed and ran to fetch a large pink envelope from the sideboard. She handed it to me with both hands. "Read it out loud, Grandpa, so everyone can hear." I opened it carefully. The front showed a turkey drawn in crayon, feathers bright and uneven. Inside, the words were typed in big font, clearly David's doing, with little hearts and smiley faces the kids had added. I began in a proud voice. "Roses are red. Violets are blue. You're past your prime. Pack up and adieu." The room exploded in laughter. Sarah covered her mouth, shoulders shaking. Mark slapped the table. Even Lily giggled because the grown-ups were. David leaned back with a smirk. "See? We thought it'd be funny. Lighten the mood." My throat closed. The card trembled in my hands. I tried to smile, but my face felt frozen. Tears burned behind my eyes. "It's just a joke, Dad," David said, still chuckling. "Don't take it so seriously. You've always been so sensitive." I looked around the table. No one, not one person, looked ashamed. They were waiting for me to laugh along, to play the good sport. I set the card down gently. "I think I've lost my appetite." Silence fell for the first time all evening. I pushed my chair back. "I'll see myself out." No one stopped me. No one followed. I drove home through the cold November night with the windows down, letting the wind dry the tears I couldn't hold back anymore. When I walked into my small house, the same one Ellen and I bought in 1972, the quiet felt different. Not lonely. Honest. I sat at the kitchen table where we used to do taxes, where I taught David long division, where Ellen used to knead bread while humming hymns. I opened the bottom drawer of the old oak desk and pulled out the folder I hadn't touched in years. Bank statements. Property deeds. Investment summaries. Over 43 years of construction work, back-breaking days pouring concrete, framing houses, working overtime in rain and snow, I had built more than buildings. I had built security. Quietly. For them. When David's first business failed, I gave him $22,000 to pay off suppliers so he wouldn't lose his credit. When Mark's marriage collapsed and he needed a place to stay, I let him live here rent-free for 18 months while he got back on his feet. I paid the property taxes on this house so he didn't have to worry. When Sarah wanted to go back to school for her nursing degree, I sent $18,000 in anonymous scholarships through the community college so she wouldn't know it came from me. Over the last 8 years alone, I had quietly transferred $50,400 to their accounts in emergency help. Mortgage payments when David lost a contract. Car repairs. Braces for Lily. New tires. Christmas when money was tight. They thought I lived on Social Security and a small pension. They never asked how I always had cash when they called. They never wondered why I still drove a 20-year-old pickup while they upgraded every 3 years. What they didn't know, what I never bragged about, was the lake cabin. 15 years ago, an uncle I barely knew died childless and left me 40 acres on Lake Norman, including a 2-bedroom cabin with a private dock. I never told the boys. I fixed it up myself on weekends, rented it out through a management company, and let the income compound in a brokerage account. Today that account, plus bonds, CDs, and dividend stocks, sat at $382,000. Enough to live comfortably for the rest of my life. Enough that I never needed to ask anyone for anything. Enough that I could finally stop being their safety net. The next morning, I called my financial advisor. We closed the automatic monthly transfer of $800 they had come to expect. I revoked the linked debit card they used for emergencies. I called my attorney and rewrote my will. The house, the cabin, the investments, everything would go to a scholarship fund in Ellen's name for trade school students who couldn't afford tuition. A small irrevocable trust for Lily and her little brother would open at age 25, but only if they maintained regular, genuine contact with me after I left. No guilt visits. No holiday obligation calls. Real relationship or nothing. I wrote 2 letters. The first to David. Son. Last night you made me read words that cut deeper than any hammer I ever swung. You called me past my prime. You laughed while I cried. I raised you alone after your mother died. I worked double shifts so you could play sports, go to college, start a family. I gave you money when you failed, a home when you fell, silence when you didn't thank me. I am not angry. I am awake. I have ended all financial support. The cabin on the lake, yes, I own one, will be my home now. I'm moving there tomorrow. Do not call asking for help. Do not send the children to soften me. If you ever want your father back, it will be because you value the man, not the wallet. Your father, Thomas. The second to Mark was shorter. Similar words. Same truth. I sealed the envelopes, left them on the kitchen table next to the uneaten pies I'd brought home, and packed 2 suitcases. Clothes. Fishing rods. Ellen's photo. A few books. I locked the front door, slid the key under the mat for the realtor I'd already contacted, and drove north. The cabin smelled of pine and water. The dock creaked under my boots as I watched the sun drop behind the trees, painting the lake gold. A bass jumped nearby. Big one. I smiled for the first time in months. No more waiting for calls that never came. No more hoping gratitude would arrive someday. No more pretending being useful was the same as being loved. I am 75. I have a lake, a pole, and peace. And for the first time since Ellen left this world, I am not carrying anyone else's weight. I am finally, quietly, completely free.